You're listening to the Obsessive Viewer Podcast, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com, and Lost final season was great television.
This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. And the voice you heard at the top of this episode belongs to, of course, John Bailey, who does the voiceover work for Honest Trailers. He was at Indy PopCon at the end of our aisle and was kind enough to record that bit for us at PopCon in the voice of Honest Trailers to kind of make us feel a little bit more legitimate, I guess.
Yeah.
And he was really nice to talk to and really cool. And also, I think 10, not 10%, but most of his proceeds that he got from the booth went to an autism foundation. So,
oh, that's cool.
So that's very cool. Yeah, so Tiny, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, Good. Still riding the PopCon high, if you will.
So am I.
That was convincing.
I'm more still recovering from the lack of sleep. We're recording this on Wednesday night after PopCon, and that's the proof that I'm getting old, apparently, is that I can't hang.
Yeah, I went to sleep at 9 o'clock on Sunday night.
We were messaging each other, and yeah, I was like, that's a smart idea. Let's watch Game of Thrones. Pizza. Yeah, and that was a mistake too, just as a brief aside, because came home from PopCon exhausted, then I did something. I think I watched The Office and ate dinner and stuff, and then it came to the point where I was like, okay, I could go to sleep, and then I thought, well, Game of Thrones is coming on. It's a big episode. I should probably watch that. So I was exhausted. Then I watched Game of Thrones, which made me gave me an adrenaline rush, and it was just I could not go to sleep that night.
That's a bummer, man.
Yeah, and it sucked because I had a big Monday at work the next day, so that was interesting. So anyway, I'm still recovering, and yeah, I'm hoping that I can get some good sleep this weekend.
We're getting old.
Yes, oh yes. I'll be 30 on Sunday.
You will.
Yeah, which, god dang, yeah, that's something.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, this episode is kind of our wrap-up episode for Indy PopCon 2016, kind of our post-convention talk. We're going to kind of go back and forth and talk about some of the highlights of the convention for us, some of the, I don't even know really any downsides to it, but some of the high points, some of the regrets we may have or things we have in mind for next year, because we did, as we mentioned at one point probably in some recording in earlier in the first episode from PopCon, we did buy our booth for next year, so we are definitely coming back.
Yep.
But I want to remind everyone that you guys have a few days left to write us a review on iTunes and then send us a message on Facebook and let us know, and then if you do that, then you could potentially get a $10 gift card to Amazon emailed to you. It's just something that we're doing to try to get more iTunes reviews, and you have until July 1st to do that. Having said that, now that the iTunes contest is out of the way, welcome new listeners to the podcast. Anyone that we picked up from PopCon. We spent 3 days at the convention center basically pitching the podcast to anyone who will listen to us. So, if you're one of the new listeners, welcome, and I hope you enjoy our show.
Yes. Listen to our old episodes.
Yes.
Please do. Yeah.
And we have several, 172 for you guys to go through.
Yeah.
Also, and finally, before we get to our actual topic for this segment of this episode, I am so dragging. Shocktober in Irvington 3 is happening October 14th, 2016 at the Irving Theater. It's a one-night event screening of short horror films from local filmmakers, and we're really excited about it, and we actually just made a Facebook event page for it. It's at shocktoberinirvington.com is where you can find the link. And of course, you can find it in the show notes of this episode. And yeah, so we're really excited for that. And we've got confirmation that Billy and Brandon are going to have a short film for us again this year. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure JP is going to have his short film as well.
I think he just recently concluded filming for that.
I think so. The Roman.
The Roman, yeah.
Is the title. I don't know if he wanted us to announce it. But yeah, it's The Roman.
Too late.
Yeah.
I think he announced it on the Facebook page.
I think so too. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then also, Pat and Tyler from the Nerds You're Looking For, they're talking about making a short. So,
nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna definitely looking forward to that. Pat was telling me about his idea, and it's pretty awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So we've got some good stuff coming up for Shocktober in Irvington, but let's reflect on this past weekend, shall we?
Let's. It's
every year at PopCon. It's such a unique experience because we went to the first PopCon as a podcast relatively early in our podcasting career, our podcasting life, and to kind of go back every year, it's kind of a interesting way to kind of mark our growth in this hobby and our growth in this world, for me at least. And it's really cool. And plus you get to see a ton of people and just a lot of people that you see every year at the convention as well. It's just a lot of fun. So Tiny, what were some of your highlights from PopCon 2016?
For me, the highlights are always catching up with our convention friends. People that we see every year at PopCon. It's becoming a regular thing now, after 3 years. Our friends, Mike and Leslie, who are part of the PopCon crew, who help us out every year, they always stop by the booth several times and just ask us if we need anything.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is just really great service, and they're just cool people too. I like to hang out with them other than the convention. So that's great. Seeing our friends from other podcasts and then just making new friends. We got to know our booth neighbors a little bit, this year, most notably, I think Thousand Faces Cosplay. They were right across from us.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of energy all weekend. They were really fun.
They were so, like you said, so energetic. They were so cool.
Yeah.
So friendly too.
Yeah. And of course, as I hope you heard in our last episode, we made a new friend in Gary with CinemaSide. He was great, and I look forward to combing through their content and looking at their stuff. So just making new friends, catching up with old ones, that's always the highlight for me.
Totally. Oh yeah. I think back to our first year and how out of our element we were with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, there's something about the convention experience that just kind of makes me really happy about it. Like you said, meeting new people. It was just really cool because the first year we didn't know, like especially with the podcaster stage, we didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know how we were going to handle that or what we were going to do with that. Granted, a lot of what I'm saying is because I recently re-listened to our first batch of PopCon episodes from PopCon 2014. So that memory is kind of fresh in my mind. And it's like I go back and I think to that first PopCon where we had stage time, but we didn't have a guest lineup, and we ended up just getting Chick McGee, who was so that was a lot of fun and everything. But then now it's like I was thinking about how terrified I was and how absolutely just scary it was at the prospect of being on a stage, talking to people in an audience, talking to someone, interviewing them on a stage in front of people was so just foreign to me. And then I think about it that since that time we've done PopCon 2015, we've done Shocktober in Irvington, we've done Shocktober in Irvington 2, we've done Starbase Indy a couple times. Last year at PopCon, I at least was on the stage, podcaster stage 3 times, and then a panel. I was a part of a panel for the 3rd time or on the 4th time. And it's just a nice measurement of our growth as podcasters in this. And yeah, I loved talking to Gary from CinemaSide. I thought that was really insightful and really, I feel like we really dug into what they're all about and their whole creative process. And I'm really looking forward to checking out their stuff. Like I said, I bought their episode of Twilight, and I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet because I've been so busy with work and everything. But I'm really looking forward to listening to them and networking with them more. And then also like I guess I can go into some of my highlights from this year's PopCon, I guess. Going into, or when I was watching Pat and Tyler from Their Nerds You're Looking For, when they were actually interviewing Billy and Brandon on the podcaster stage. You should listen to that on their feed. It was a really fun interview. And there was this one lady in the audience who just went crazy for it. She was loving every second of it.
Really?
Yeah. And then like, this is kind of a good, like, this is a good indication of why PopCon is so cool to me and why it's such a nice environment for me personally, is that I was sitting there in the audience watching our friends talk, and then some guys came up, and then they were asking about the podcaster stage, and then I kind of waved them down. I was like, yeah, you just, you go up and just put in a USB and then hit record and you're all set. It's not a big deal. So then I got to talking to them too, and then they turned out that they were podcasters from Indy, from Cult Cinema Cavalcade. And it was just, we struck up a conversation. We talked about podcasting. We talked about PopCon conventions, and then they gave me a free shirt for their podcast. I was like, this is like what it's all about. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And it was just such a blast. And then also, I don't know if this is a high point or what, but I made relative to past PopCons, I made a lot of purchases that I don't know if I really should have, but let's see, I bought a bunch of pop figures, basically. I bought Ferris Bueller Dancing, which is kind of a new one, and then I bought Daredevil, and I bought the TARDIS and the 10th Doctor, and then I also bought you Cousin Eddie, Danny.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to putting them up somewhere or doing something with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have two of them at work in my cubicle, but yeah. And then, yeah, just, I don't know. I'm still like riding a little bit of a high from it. I'm still kind of readjusting. But yeah, this year was an absolute blast. Tiny, how do you feel it compared to past years?
I was just a little bummed this year because Karen Gillan couldn't be there. That was the downside, the only downside really. Well, and the other downside is that I didn't have enough money to buy things.
Right.
But that's out of my control. But yeah, so I mean, that put a slight damper on it for me. But once I got there, that all just went out the window because there's just too many ways to have fun there. I haven't really thought about which ones, if any of them, are better than the others. I think that first time we were there is kind of special because it was our first convention. So that's probably at the tops, but I don't know. It's just I can't complain at all. It's just a fun time, and I like how PopCon has changed it up. I mean, I think the first year they didn't necessarily know who they were, exactly what they wanted to be. And so it feels like they just kind of try things out. And so like last year they had that big push for, like internet celebrities, like the YouTuber stuff. And then this year they didn't have a specific thing, but, there was more YouTube. There were voice actors there. There were, animation actors there. There was, just all kinds of different stuff. And I think it's cool that they're constantly trying new things every year.
Me too.
That works out.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like this year had seemed to have some more, like, I don't know necessarily say if it was after hours stuff, but they kind of had a lot of basically they had a lot of things that I didn't end up doing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that can transition into kind of some of my regrets for PopCon, because I mean, anytime there's, PopCon comes around, anytime PopCon comes around, I always think like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And like, I just don't have the time, energy, and I don't want to leave the booth for too long.
Right.
Because that's also one of the biggest parts of it, and one of the best parts of it is just pitching what we do to new people and seeing them become interested and actually have like genuine interest in what we do. Like that's one of the highest points of the entire convention. But the downside was that, let's see, probably my lowest point of PopCon this year, and this is kind of ridiculous, but I think it was Saturday, they had an after party thing, and the exhibit hall closed at 6, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll go home and I'll eat some dinner and then maybe change or something, and then maybe I'll go down and go to the after party stuff and like check out the actual after hours things that they have going on. Didn't end up happening. And mostly that was just because I live on the west side of downtown, and I mean, I paid for parking for the day, and then if I were to go home, I'd have to find another place to park, and also I was exhausted, so I don't know. So that was the downside. So I think that might be a goal for next year, is go to like panels and go to certain things that they have, because I know the first year we did PopCon, and granted we had Mike there too that first year, so it was a lot easier to manage our schedules and everything at the booth. But like we went through the program, we scheduled, or we circled what panels we wanted to go to, what things we wanted to go to, we went to them and everything. But like this year and last year we didn't really do that, and I think part of that is just, for me, it was just like because I love being in that moment and in the space, in the booth, you know, sharing the podcast with people. But then a part of me is also like, I'm kind of missing out on some stuff.
Right.
So I think next year one of my goals is going to be to actually do more PopCon stuff.
Yeah.
As well as really push the podcast and push our booth stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have any? Well, you already said Karen Gillan. Do you have any goals for next year, or things you want to do next year?
I'd like to really try to interview more people, not necessarily at the booth, but like talk to other podcasters, talk to some more actors, or
nice.
Just interview more people. The first year I kind of did that. I was a lot more more ballsy about I interviewed like Rupert Bonham from Survivor and
Pat McAfee,
Christian Nairn. I was pretty gutsy about going up and talking to them.
Yeah, you were all into it. That was awesome.
Yeah, I just didn't really do that much this year. And I'd like to do that more next year, just because it's fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that would be something I can work on too. I also part of me kind of wishes I would have went to the Kevin Smith thing.
Yeah.
Which, for those who don't know, Kevin Smith had his like premiere screening of Yoga Hosers at PopCon this year. So basically he came, did an intro to the movie, they screened the movie, then they did a Q&A, and then he recorded a live episode of Fat Man on Batman, his podcast. Those tickets were available like separate from PopCon tickets and everything, and I just didn't get around to buying one, and I didn't really, knowing how exhausting PopCon is for me, I knew that I would be really tired.
Right.
So I didn't get to do that, but if they do something similar to that next year, I might really make an effort to do something like that, and like I said, that ties into my goals that I already said. So,
right, I had some friends at work who went to that.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that he was like a half hour late.
Yeah.
And then like his 30-minute intro was like over an hour.
Yeah, that's what Pat and Tyler said.
Yeah, it just like ran really late and everything, which you can pretty much expect that from Kevin Smith, because if you've ever watched any of his live stuff, he's just a rambler.
Oh,
he just and it's great.
Oh, absolutely.
It's part of his personality, and it's what makes him cool and funny and awesome, but you know, at the same time, it's like, it's 9:45, we haven't even started this movie yet.
Right.
So,
oh yeah.
We would have been, my point is, we would have been absolutely done on Sunday if we would have tried to go to that.
Oh yeah, totally.
So.
Also, another goal is I want to check out more of the live podcasts.
Yeah.
Which would be separate from the panels. But, because I mean, PopCon's so cool about having a dedicated stage for podcasters and giving every podcast time on the stage. And, like, I'd love to just be able to, like, take an hour, like, pick a few podcasts I don't know, take an hour, go sit down, and just watch them and like experience them for the first time via a live thing.
Yeah,
So.
and I mean, I love the podcaster stage too, and when I think about it, it's like, it's not hesitantly, but it's like forced us into like, it's kind of forced us to make friends with like 3 different people over 3 years.
Oh yeah,
Like
totally.
we got to meet Chick McGee the first year, and he was awesome, and he remembered us the next year. We got to talk to John Graham last year, and he is just a really cool guy who's like super passionate.
Oh yeah.
And then we got to meet Gary from Cinema Side this year, and it's just like, we probably never would have met those, or like at least we wouldn't have like ongoing relationships with those people if it weren't for that podcaster stage. So
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I remember the first year when they didn't really, it seemed like they didn't really know exactly what they had planned for it.
yeah.
So like the first year they had to say like, okay, well, email us a list of three of the guests that you would want to have on the stage with you, and we'll see if we can get them to do it. And we're like, okay, well here's these 3 people. And then like they kind of decided like, okay, well that's not really possible to work out all that information. So just approach someone and ask if they'll be on the stage with you. And that's what we've done basically. And it's been, that was kind of a tipping point in terms of, approaching people that we don't know and that we want to get to know better and interview on our podcast. And it's just, I don't know, it's them having that style of, or that kind of policy in place for the podcaster stage, I love, because like I said, the first day of PopCon this year, when we were setting up, we didn't know, I didn't know anything about CinemaSide.
Right.
At all. I just saw their banner and I read it and I was like, oh, they do like riff tracks things like MST3K. That sounds interesting. So then that night, I looked through their website and I kind of got a sense of what they're all about. And then that's when I went up and, introduced myself to them the next day. And that's when I asked them if they want to be on the podcaster stage with us. And it was so cool also because they were so happy. They were so like thrilled about that. And I was like, that's so cool. It's really cool that it's not like that environment's like, okay, go up to someone in a coffee shop or whatever and be like, hey, come stand on a stage with me for an hour and let me talk to you. It's like, that's a weird, like that context in PopCon is the only way that you can really do that without looking like an idiot.
Agreed.
Or being weird. But it was like, they were super receptive to it. They were really nice guys. And, so that was another high point, obviously. And, so other than that, we're kind of rambling a little bit. Is there anything we want to say about this year's PopCon before we go to the booth recordings?
I mean, we doted on it pretty hard.
Right.
Yeah, I had a great time. Always have a great time at PopCon. Thanks to the folks who put on the convention every year. For sticking with it and doing a good job.
Yeah. I actually sent them an email yesterday saying like, hey, thanks. The podcast, blah, blah, blah. We wouldn't really be what we are today if it wasn't for the effect of PopCon and, in the first year. And then this year, it's really great to see them, grow to what they are now. Like we had people for the first year, people, when we asked them at the booth, when we asked them like, oh, what brought you to PopCon? They're like, well, Christian Nairn's here, or Kevin Eastman's here.
Yeah.
And like they would say like, oh yeah, that's what I'm here for. And then second year is like, oh wow, you came from Ohio, you came from Missouri, you came from wherever. Like, what brought you to PopCon? They're like, oh, Markiplier's here. I want to see all the YouTubers and everything. And then this year, like 2 or 3 times, I was like, where are you from? And then they're like, oh, I think like Kansas City and Buffalo. And I was like, what brought you to PopCon? And they're like, PopCon?
Yeah,
like,
it's cool.
I was like, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
And then next year people are going to be like, the obsessive viewer brought me here.
Yeah, it is. They did.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had such a blast at PopCon. If we met you at PopCon and you haven't been turned away by rambling in this episode, then thank you for listening, and we hope that we can keep you as a listener for a long while in the future, and many more PopCons to come. And so we are going to basically go into our booth recordings this year. Every year we do this. Every year at PopCon we ask a specific question to the people who stop by our booth, and if they want to, they record their answer for us, and we put them together into a compilation of the recordings into the PopCon episode. And this year, first of all, I should mention, Tiny, when we were on stage with Gary and you asked him the 2 questions that we did before, I had completely forgotten what the second question was from last year.
Oh, really?
So I was so glad that you said it and that I didn't, because like I was afraid that you were gonna like say like and then like kind of motion to me or whatever to prompt him for the second one, because I didn't remember at all.
That's funny.
Yeah, and it's funny because it was a really good question. But anyway, so the first year we asked what's your favorite movie and what your favorite movie and TV show is, and then the second year we asked what movie or TV universe you would want to be a part of. And then this year we asked what movie, TV show, or franchise would you want to remake, reboot, or revive, and why? And we got a lot of really good answers.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was really cool. There was a lot of stuff that I hadn't even considered as rebootable, basically. A couple things I hadn't even heard of that were really interesting to me when they pitched it, when I asked for them to explain what exactly it was. That's one of the things that makes it such an interesting question, because, you think, you consider like, okay, remakes, reboots, like that's like those are like horrible words in and the entertainment field, and with good reason. But when you separate that, like obviously there's a knee-jerk reaction of like, okay, you can't remake anything, that's sacrilegious. But if you think about it, when you ask that question and you have people who are passionate about a property that didn't get their fair due, and you hear their responses to why they would remake it, it comes from a place of such passion. So that was one of the things that I was kind of surprised that I got this response, because I really liked hearing the answer to this question, and it wasn't something that I'd planned when we discussed what question we would ask. I just thought it was such a cool way to get someone to talk about something that they're passionate about and something that they would like to see more of. So that was kind of the accidental thought process, I guess, into asking this question. So without further ado, Tiny, do you have anything more to say, or should we go to the...
I say we go to it.
Alrighty. So here are our booth recordings for the 3rd annual Indy PopCon at the Indiana Convention Center, June 17th to the 19th, 2016. Much like the X-Files just came back, or 24 is coming back, or Prison Break, apparently. Stuff like that. Okay. So what movie franchise or TV show or what have you would you like to see revived a la the X-Files?
Firefly.
We would like Firefly, yeah. We feel like Joss Whedon's free now, and Nathan Fillion's free too, Castle's done, so I think just bring the whole group together. I think we'll be alright.
That's true. That is a good point, yeah. So you're Firefly as well?
Yeah, but on the topic of Joss Whedon, also Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, it's not really a movie, but I'd like to see a sequel.
Oh, yeah. I think everyone would love to see a sequel to that. Oh, yeah. And just what are your guys' names and where you're from?
Kevin McCaslin.
And Melanie Trin.
And we're both from Grand Rapids.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you very much. And this episode will be up next week probably, so if you want to hear it, you can subscribe and do all that. Okay. Now we're recording. Okay. All right. So go ahead and introduce yourself, plug Indie Filmmakers Network and all that stuff.
Hi, I'm Nathan Bechtold, and I run the Indiana Filmmakers Network. I'm a state board member, regional director, and I run the Lafayette chapter as well. And we have free monthly meetings every second Tuesday of each month at the Hamilton IMAX 69. Or 16, I'm sorry, on I-69. And, every month meeting is different. We have different guest speakers. And it's for every form of media, acting, not just filmmaking itself, but filmmaking is a team effort, and every aspect of filmmaking needs to be there. And it's a great resource, free resource, mind you, to network with fellow creatives around the state.
Sweet, that's awesome. And I keep meaning to make it to a meeting, but my schedule never matches up. So, between, this PopCon and next PopCon, I will be at very least one or two of the meetings. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And, so we've been asking everyone at the convention, what movie, if you could revive, remake, or reboot any movie, franchise, or TV show, what would it be and why?
Well, let me first say that the franchises that I think really should get a revival, not a reboot, but a revival is, Stargate. Stargate ran for a very long time. It has a good, deep-set fan base, and I think they've taken way too long to get back to it. And I know that they want to do, movies based on the original movie in the 90s. Okay, whatever. But that's disregarding most of the franchise since thereof. But it'd be really nice to see a continuing series or something like that. That being said, the movie, I'm not a big remake guy, but the movie that I've always loved to, I would love to see is The Valley of Gwangi.
Yeah, never heard of that.
So The Valley of Gwangi is a Ray Harryhausen film from the 60s. It kind of has that Mighty Joe Young, King Kong atmosphere. But think about this. It's 3:10 to Yuma meets Jurassic Park.
That sold me on it right there.
So if you reconstruct the script a tiny bit, but keep what it really is all about, take away some of that King Kong element about the giant beast that goes crazy and kills people because of greedy bastards. That could stay in there, but you need to focus on the love interest and some of that stuff a little more than the original movie. But I think that'd be a fantastic film to be remade with a decent budget, not just hey, let's go in the backyard and do it, but, with stick figures and claymation. But really, I mean, with today's special effects and acting and production quality, I think it'd be outstanding. Now, that being said, there's a lot of Harryhausen films I think would be great. I also like the Quatermass series from Britain would be wonderful. I think they are planning on doing a remake of that series. It's it kind of inspired Doctor Who and things like that in the early days of the 50s, 60s. So there's a lot of things that I think have a lot of quality for remakes or revivals, but it's tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. Oh yeah, that's a great answer too, because I was not aware of it at all. So that's awesome, and just that sounds amazing. So why don't you tell our listeners where they can find Indie Filmmakers Network or Indiana Filmmakers Network, and online and everything.
So yeah, check us out on Facebook, but we also have a good meetup group. I'm trying to promote Meetup as an application. It's actually fantastic. We've got a lot of new people off there. It's a free forum for the most part, but if you want to set up stuff, I think they charge you. But you can look at us up on Facebook and Meetup. We've gotten rid of some of our other stuff, but you can look us up at indiefilmmakers.net online. It's not a very active website, and Indie Film News is not a very active website. There's Film Indiana, which is also not a very active. That's what we're trying to change, though. Indiana with media, there's a great resource. There's so many creatives out there working in different forms of media and filmmaking and acting, and there are wonderful resources. There's a great talent agencies and things like that we work with. We have tons of affiliates across the state, but the problem is getting them all together, networking everybody, and a lot of people like to stay online to network. Well, that's okay, and that's great for promoting yourself. But the problem is it takes away the personal networking. And when you get to talk with somebody face to face, and you can look them in the eye and you know where they stand, it's a lot easier. And so we give a free forum monthly at different locations around the state. Like I said, I do the Lafayette chapter, and I've been doing that for 8 years. Indianapolis chapter, we meet at the Goodrich Hamilton IMAX 16 every second Tuesday, and with different topics and different guest speakers. This last Tuesday, we had networking in how to network in the entertainment industry by a professional who has worked in LA and all around, and she normally charges a lot for our seminars. And these are the kind of resources that people should be taking. And I know it's hard to get work off and things like that, especially for the people who are making indie films. They don't have a lot of time. They're working a regular job too, and I get that. But sometimes, you know what? My thing's always been that the dream is easy, and people like to dream, and that's okay. But you got to put some effort into making that dream real. And instead of just working and doing your own films and not paying attention to what other people are doing, and just staying inclusive, that's not really how the industry works. And when you look at a film, look at the credits. I mean, and that's just the people that want to credit. There's people that don't get on the credits that worked in that film. It's a team effort, and that's the whole thing in the industry in itself. You have to work with other people. So, okay, I'm done spieling.
Well, that's great, and I really hope that people go and check out the meetings and everything.
Yeah, please.
Everything. That's awesome. So, we'll talk soon. Yeah, thanks for stopping by and have a good convention.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good one.
All right. So, of course, just introduce yourself, say your name, your podcast, all that stuff, and where you're from.
All right, my name is Jake Johnston. Of course, you've heard me on here before, as we've heard you on our show, the World's Almost Finest podcast. Of course, we're on the FNX network. You can check us out, or Facebook.com/World's Almost Finest. Instagram, worlds.almost.finest. That's a new one for me. And at WAlmostFinest on Twitter.
Sweet, right on. So the question we're asking everyone is, what movie, show, or franchise would you remake, revive, revamp, whatever, if you could, and why? And how would you go about doing that?
Oh, well, I saw the question. I had to think about it. And I don't want to go the normal route that everybody would say, reboot something that was classic in the past or something. But I keep having a movie that comes back to me, and I think it needs to be redone, and I think it could have franchise capabilities if done correctly. There was a movie in, I believe it was 94, starring Alec Baldwin, and of course it was called The Shadow.
I am not familiar with that. Interesting.
Oh, The Shadow, it's based off those old pulp-type stories, from the 1920s and stuff, and it's like this guy, the story's a little confusing. Like, he grew up in Mongolia or something, or he was a big evil guy, and then somebody put a curse on him to where he has the ability to turn his body into a shadow itself and move through the darkness. And when he does that, he wears, like, this big hat and a red scarf over his face, and he's got one of them big jackets that acts as a cape as well, and he has his followers that they know when he's calling because he has a ring, and if the ring lights up and they see it, they're like, all right, I gotta go somewhere. And he basically he becomes a good guy. And in the movie, he has to fight back against Genghis Khan, I believe it is, trying to come back, searching for this dagger. It's a confusing movie, but I believe that it's due for a reboot, especially in today's superhero franchise and everything that's happening, that it could really, really do well. And if done correctly, a hero that can turn invisible, basically, or turn into a shadow and move through the darkness, that's awesome.
That's a really cool concept. I've never heard of it. That's interesting.
Yeah, I remember going into Halloween one time, because the costume's awesome. Like I said, he's got the cape jacket, the big hat, kind of Undertaker style, if you think about it, one of them big hats, the scarf over the face, and then he has pistols in his arms right there, where the holster, he could just pull them straight out, and they're like golden pistols or something.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome. That's a very unique answer. We have not had, I don't believe we've had anyone say that for this weekend, so that's awesome. That's very cool.
I mean, it's like you get scenes where somebody thinks they're alone in their apartment or they're alone in their house and the lights aren't on or something, but all they do is, and it's Alec Baldwin's voice in the movie, so he'll be like, if he goes to see someone named Jerry, he'll be like, Jerry Large or something. You've been lying to me, Jerry. And he's searching around, where's he at? I can't find him. He's in the dark. He's invisible.
That is cool. That's very cool. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So once again, tell everyone where they can find the World's Almost Finest.
Oh, yeah, the World's Almost Finest podcast, part of the FNX.network. We have all of our episodes on there. You can hook up with us at WAlmostFinest on Twitter, Facebook.com/World's Almost Finest, Instagram, worlds.almost.finest, where we got all the pictures from this year's PopCon that we've been taking and everything like that. So, yeah, that's where you can find us.
Sweet. Right on. Well, thanks for stopping by, and have a good rest of the convention.
Oh, you too, man. And check out The Shadow. I'm telling you, it is it's confusing, but it's a cult classic.
Nice. I'll definitely have to check that out. Awesome.
I'm here with my friend and co-host on my other podcast, Chad, and he's going to answer our question, what franchise, movie, TV show would you revamp, relaunch, whatever, if you could, and why? So here's Chad.
Hey, everybody. So I don't know if anybody's ever had this thought before. I kind of would like to see the movie Pleasantville turned into a TV show. But in a way, it's hard because I think nowadays, I don't know that actual show could be pulled off by itself, like as a standalone show. I feel like you would almost have to go the way of like the Brady Bunch movie, where you have like maybe one family in that Pleasantville type mindset, and then everybody else is more modern day, and they're just kind of oblivious to everything. I don't know how well it could go, I see it being like a one-season thing. I don't think it would last much past that. It'd be cool if it did. I mean, I don't know. But that was my thought. That's the only one thing I really thought of, because the smart ass in me thought of the old show, Make Room for Daddy, because it was very much a Pleasantville type of sitcom way back in the day. It was black and white. Really, as far as I remember, it was mostly set in the home. I think they might have had a couple outside set pieces, but it was usually just in the house, and it was just, the mom, the dad, the two kids. Jeepers, Dad, what'd you do today? That type of thing. It was on Nick at Night. That's the only reason I know what it was. I saw it when I was a kid at Nick at Night, but that was my thought. So anyway, glad you guys are having a good time at the con, and anybody listening, check out Tiny and I on Secular Perspective. I also do have another offshoot of my own that I will plug because I'm here, and it is Chad and Amanda Talk Shit About. It's more or less, we'll take more off-the-wall, more offbeat type of news stories, talk about those a little bit, and then, if possible, try to incorporate some past life experience stories that may or may not relate to that. And it's just a way to kind of document a lot of the memories I had from my childhood and stuff like that I think other people might enjoy. So anyway, that's it.
Very awesome. Thanks, Chad.
Okay, so I'm here with Pat from the Nerds You're Looking For podcast. And, why don't you tell us, Pat, what movie or show or franchise you would remake, reboot, revive, if you could, and why?
So, I am a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I've kind of grew up on the games. It was kind of one of the first video games that I really just nerded out over. I was always playing that game. And I think that the characters have really cool backstories, and they've tried a couple of times in a couple of different ways to make that more of a movie franchise and kind of they did a web series for a while that was supposed to end up being a movie, but then they never made the movie, called Mortal Kombat Legacy, and I think that's the closest they've gotten to a legitimate Mortal Kombat franchise. But if it was me that was doing it, I would try to stay away from the supernatural as much as possible. Like, obviously there's different realms, and you kind of have to keep that in play, but I think the further that you can get away from the different realms and the supernatural and kind of do what Nolan did for Batman, kind of ground it as much as physically possible, I think there's a really cool maybe TV series, maybe a Netflix original, or a movie franchise. I think it's there. They have the people that want it, like me, that are kind of waiting for a really good series or a really good movie franchise. So I think the potential's there, but it just hasn't lived up to that yet.
Sweet. And why don't you tell us where we can find the Nerds You're Looking For podcast for those who don't know?
Well, we have a website, thenerdspodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, at The Nerds Podcast. We're also at The Nerds Podcast on Instagram. You can follow us on Google+, all that good stuff. We're basically on any podcatcher you use, most notably, of course, iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
Right on. Well, I hope you have a good rest of the convention, and we're just a few steps away, so I'll be bugging you the rest of the day.
Per usual.
Right.
So I'm here with our frequent guests and friends of the show, Billy and Brandon Watch Movies. And we've been asking people all weekend if you could remake, revamp, relaunch, whatever, any movie, show, franchise, what would it be and why? So do you guys have an answer?
Yes, it would be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film franchise, specifically.
For sure.
Okay. Yeah, we came up with like a 6-movie arc. Kind of Batman Begins style. Like you start small with like the Mousers and the Rat King, a pairing you've never had before.
But super obvious.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And just kind of build from there. Like you don't really even show Shredder until later on, and just kind of take it back to its roots, like that first 1990s movie. That kind of tone.
I think that's everybody's favorite. That's my favorite, because all the other ones suck, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. The animated one was good, and, I'd rather have that than nothing, and more so than the newer films.
Well, you guys are filmmakers. Get to work on it.
Well, we had an outline that we talked about.
They're welcome to reach out to us at any time, billyandbrandon.com. Just send us an email, and we'd be happy to work with you on rebooting your Ninja Turtles series.
Very cool. That's a great answer. I think that's the first Ninja Turtles we've gotten all weekend, maybe. I'm not sure. But anyways, what are you guys working on for Billy and Brandon? What's up next for you guys?
Well, we are finishing the Birdcage, hopefully very soon. And then we're going to try to wrap up Season 2. And then we have spent the weekend talking about trying to find a way to do shorter, more accessible items. Maybe not specifically Billy and Brendan watch movies, but just branching out and doing something new.
And there's this thing we've done the last few years, Shocktober in Irvington. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but
never heard of it.
Yeah, we've so we did Intruder 1 and 2 the last 2 years, and we're working on 3 now. So
that's really awesome. I can't wait because you guys always turn out something fun. So where can we find you guys? Your YouTube channel and everything?
Is it BillyandBrandon.com? Okay. It's not a porn. It's just BillyandBrandon.com. And what's our YouTube? I don't know.
I think it's Billy and Brandon Watch Movies. I think it's the full thing.
Okay. I'm glad you guys have that locked down. Okay. All right. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks.
All right. So first off, what's your name and where are you from?
I'm Jalen. I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks for coming to PopCon. So we've been asking people all day, what movie or TV show or franchise would you relaunch or remake if you could?
I would definitely remake Steel. Probably Shaquille O'Neal really did the character wrong.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough movie. Do you know who you'd want to play the main character?
Anyone other than Shaquille O'Neal.
Really good answer. All right, well, thanks for coming out, man.
All right, thank you.
Why don't you tell us your name and where you're from?
Yeah, my name's Ryan Green, and I'm from Lafayette, Indiana.
Right on. Welcome to PopCon.
Thanks, man.
And, so we've been asking people what movie or show would they want to remake or reboot or re-whatever for a modern audience, and what would you like to see remade, and what would you like to see different, I guess?
Sure, I would like to see Cheers redone, because I kind of think everybody likes that spot where everybody knows your name, I think that could work nowadays, so...
Sweet, right on. Great. Well, thanks for stopping by, and hope you have a good convention.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Okay, so to start out, where are you from, and what's your name?
My name's Marcus, and I'm from Indianapolis.
Very cool, and you have your own podcast as well. Want to tell us about that?
Yes. I'm a member of the Hammer and Nigel Show, a local podcast that focuses on, local media and personalities in the area. Essentially, we basically get those guys and girls to come out to a bar, get drunk with us, and then we interview them for an hour.
That sounds like a great time.
Oh yeah. It's the most ridiculous moments happen on this show. We've had a guy get waxed on the show. We've had fetish models. We've had Pauly Shore. We've had Carlos Mencia. A bunch of people. So it's a real good time. www.hammerandnigel.com. Check us out. We're on YouTube as well.
Very cool, man. So the whole day we've been asking people, what movie franchise or TV show would you like to see remade or relaunched?
Okay. Well, being a sci-fi guy a little bit, I'd have to say the two actually are from the same guy, Joss Whedon. It would be either Firefly or we're talking some Dollhouse action. Dollhouse is kind of awesome. Fox being Fox, though, they kill shows well before their time. So hopefully somebody will eventually get that idea together and pick it up, or at least get a spiritual successor to it.
I love that answer. That's at the top of my list, too. So, all right, well, thanks for stopping by. And one more time, what's the name of your podcast?
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm here with Matt and Shirley from Nerds Domain. How you doing, guys?
Doing fantastic.
Really good.
Nice. So we're asking everyone what movie, show, or franchise would they want to reboot, remake, revive, whatever, if they could, and why would they do it, and how would they do it?
So, in the 80s, there was a cartoon called Thundercats, and that's not my answer.
Okay.
Oh, man, that would have been amazing.
Well, but they rebooted that here recently, and it was good, but not great. So, the same people with the same voice actors made another show called Silverhawks.
Okay.
Which is not as well known, but it's essentially space cowboys, and they fight against Monstar, which is voiced by the exact same person as the Mummy guy, Mumra, the Ever Living.
Gotcha.
But it's over the top and fun, and I want to see live action like But I want to see like a Netflix style where they know how many episodes they can get out of a budget, and that's what they do with the sci-fi and the all the special effects you're going to need. There's their pilot. His name is Bluegrass, and he pilots the ship and then shoots sound waves out of his electric guitar.
That's awesome.
So I really want to see like a more adult, like serious take on it that could be fun still. Kind of along the lines of, something like the Avengers, where it's still like it's serious, but there's a lightheartedness to it. Something along those lines. That's what I want to see rebooted. Thundercats would be great, but I want to see live action more than I want to see cartoons.
Okay.
And the Thundercats, there's just so much makeup there. I don't know that would work. So that's kind of where I'm at. What about you, Shirley?
God, I'm still thinking. Thundercats was pretty amazing. They've already done Transformers, which was not very good at all.
We could get a reboot of that that's about the Transformers instead of about Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. What did I like when I was watching TV? Good night. I was thinking. Now I forgot the name of it. Where what's his face jumps
the shark
into the lives of other people.
Oh, Quantum Leap?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap.
I think we actually already got an answer to that, but...
What? Where?
No,
I think
somebody else.
Oh, you've already got that answer. Okay. I think Quantum Leap, especially with... I mean, I know that it tackled, the political and things in the 80s. I think with everything that's going on nowadays, it could tackle some really good issues.
To play Sam.
Play the oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
So Scott Bakula, who has aged well, but still is much older than he was, they could bring him in and then have a younger actor play that character that jumps from body to body that doesn't know what he's doing. That would be fantastic.
Quantum Leap. There.
Man, that's a good answer. That's a really good answer. I love it. Oh, that would be cool. That would be very cool.
That's a much better answer than what I gave.
Right.
Oh, thanks, Matt.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying yes, you're exactly right. No.
He's agreeing with you.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't you tell us where we can find Nerds Domain and all the stuff you guys do?
You can find us at nerdsdom.com. You can go to Facebook at Nerds Domain, Twitter at Nerds Domain. I'm at Quiet. Shirley is...
I'm at SNED70.
And then you can find us at Indy PopCon, but next year we don't know our booth number. This probably will go up afterwards. So,
all right, right on. Well, thanks for talking to us, and enjoy the rest of the convention.
Okay, sir. What's your name and where are you from?
Hey, I'm Tony Troxel. I'm from here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Awesome, and we've been asking people all weekend what franchise or movie or TV show would you revamp, revive, remake, whatever you want to call it, and why would you do it? So do you have an answer for that?
Actually, after much thought and much discussion, the Tron series. The original Tron film was great. I loved it growing up. When Tron Legacy came out in 2010, 2011, that was very good. I really, really enjoyed that. And one of the first films I actually saw in Disney 3D. too. And the animated series that was on Disney XD, Tron Uprising, that was very good. A lot of the effects seem to have come from the Legacy movie. A lot of the some of the voice actors had come over from it. They keep saying they're going to make more of the films and maybe continue the series. And I'm like, give it to me, Disney. I need this. I need more light cycles. I need to see the newest iteration of the tanks. Give this to me, Disney.
I'm with you. I thought Tron Legacy was really underrated. I thought it was a great movie, and the original's super fun, so I'm right there with you. You having a really good con so far?
Oh, enjoying the heck out of it. Indy PopCon is always a good time. Third year being here. Enjoy the heck out of it.
Awesome. Do you have a booth here this year, or are you just walking around?
I do not have a booth. Shameless plug time because you set me up for it. I am here as a member of the press. I run the Geekin' in Indiana blog at www.geekinindiana.com and just talk about a lot of local geekery.
I like it. Hey, the con's all about promotion, man. So I'm right there with you. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Okay, why don't you tell us your name and where you're from?
I'm Josh, and I'm from Indianapolis. So.
Sweet, right on. So we're asking people what movie show or franchise they would reboot, remake, revive, and how they would do it. So what do you got for us?
I would revise or reboot Hercules. I think that series from Kevin Sorbo in the 90s left off. I don't know if I would bring Xena back or counterparts to it, but I would bring Hercules back.
Nice, right on. Well, yeah, thanks for stopping by, man, and thank you for your service to the country. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Well, yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Giovanni Velasquez. I am from Holyoke, Massachusetts.
Wow, so you traveled. Did you drive here, fly here?
I actually flew here.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for coming out. So all day we've been asking people if you could remake or revamp or relaunch any kind of franchise, movie, or TV show, what would it be? And do you have an answer for that?
I would actually do Halloween, the new one that's coming out. I'm actually really excited for the movie to come out, and I'm also excited that John Carpenter is going to be a part of it. But obviously we just have to wait and see before the trailer, because too much hype can, ruin it. So I'd rather just wait and see for the trailer.
Yeah, I'm with you. My two co-hosts, Matt and Mike, they're huge Halloween fans, and they're really looking forward to it. So do you have any ideas about who you'd want to play Michael Myers or anything like that?
I don't know, but if anything, I don't know, for some reason, I like the guy from Halloween 5 that played Michael Myers, but most people don't like that. I mean, didn't like the mask, but to me, I just like the way he played Michael Myers for some reason. The way he stand, the way he walked, and obviously it's not. It was a traditional Michael Myers in my opinion. But if they are going to bring another actor to play Michael Myers, I feel like they should have a small person, not an average height person, because in the remakes they got this tall guy and it was alright, but Michael Myers should not be huge. What's scary about Michael Myers was that he was just a normal guy, and he just put on a mask and haunt people on Halloween night, and no one didn't know what happened until the sequel came out. So,
very cool. I like your ideas, man. That's cool. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm here with friend and frequent guest of the podcast, Robert Feckes, who's waving even though he knows that it's an audio-only format. That's fine. For our listeners, he is in a Ninja Turtles shirt and a Cowboys hat. Not a cowboy hat, but Cowboys. It's a cowboy hat. Okay.
It's a 10-gallon hat.
Right. Jesus. So anyway, of course, Feckes, why don't you tell everyone your name and where you're from that they already know?
I am Robert Feckes from Indianapolis.
Well, thanks for stopping by our booth, Robert. So the question we're asking everyone is, what show, movie, or franchise would you revive, reboot, remake, whatever, if you had the chance, and why?
Well, I'm just going to have to go with the David Duchovny classic Red Shoe Diaries on Showtime. That got me through a lot of tough years in my formative age. No, seriously. Being a huge Ninja Turtle fan, I want to see them reboot the Ninja Turtle franchise like yesterday, because Out of the Shadows was just terrible. Bring it back to the original comics, make it darker, make it serious. Let's get rid of the cartoonish Baxter Stockman, and let's make it good. And I think it can be done. I think there's a market for it, especially for 30-year-old guys like me that still love the Turtles.
You heard it here first. Make the Turtles great again from Robert Feckes.
Build that wall.
Yeah, so I think we exchanged some texts about Out of the Shadows, but yeah, that Baxter Stockman?
Yeah, Medea's Baxter Stockman.
Right. I didn't have a problem with him being cast. I think
no,
he could be good.
Of course not.
Yeah, but my God, just that, the way he was portrayed, and just the ridiculous exposition, just the way it was doled out, it was just terrible. I had fun with the first movie.
Sure, yeah, I enjoyed it, but there was... How did the Ninja Turtles have this amazing technology that this alien from a different dimension comes in and we're like, oh, our computer says that's Krang and that's the Technodrome. We know this because of our technology. Right. No, come on.
Oh, yeah. So silly and just not the good kind. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm with you. I think it would be cool if they remade it and did it better and not even necessarily darker for me, because, I loved the Ninja Turtles for a couple years growing up, and then it just turned into just Power Rangers all around for me. So I don't have as strong of a nostalgic tie to Ninja Turtles as a lot of other people my age do. like you.
Yeah.
But it's still just, it didn't sit well with me as someone outside of the fandom, and I can't imagine that if I didn't like it, that people in the fandom would just not take to it at all, and I understand that completely.
I've actually seen some people defend it, and I don't see it. Like Casey Jones, they made him a corrections officer. It's like, no, he's not a correction. He's a street tough kid. I mean, he's not. That made when I hated it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah. So hopefully they'll do that someday without. And I hate to even blame like Michael Bay because he produced it or whatever.
I don't blame Michael Bay. Michael Bay was producer. The first one made a bunch of money. They made a sequel, and he's like, I'll produce this.
Right, but the filmmaking style was like aping Michael Bay's techniques a lot. Like the first action scene with Casey Jones felt like they were cutting around the action so hard, and it was so jarring. I couldn't make sense of what was happening, and all I thought was, Stephen Amell is from Arrow. He's used to he can like I'm sure he can shoot or he can perform choreography that is filmable, and it just seemed like they were cutting around it completely, and it made no sense whatsoever. And it was, oh man, it sucked. It just sucked.
It did. And we had the same kind of climaxes in the first one. You have a Transformer-like villain in the air on top of a high platform, and that's where we fight now.
Exactly, and it felt like the heist scene, the police convoy scene was like, okay, well, The Dark Knight did it really great. Let's just do the same thing The Dark Knight did. The kind of climactic thing is like, okay, well, Avengers had aliens come from the sky. Let's do that too. And it just felt so derivative of much better things that have been in the cultural consciousness from like even 10 years ago. Less time than that. It's irritating.
Yeah, I'm with you. I even as an Instral fan, I was hoping to be able to defend it, and I just can't. I can't at all. It was awful.
Oh yeah. So on that note, thanks for recording with us here at PopCon. Are you going to make it to our podcast or stage time?
Probably.
Good.
Is it inside this area?
No, it's outside of the exhibit hall, but yeah. I get you. I understand. So, all right. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you can hear Fectus's voice on many other episodes of the podcast. Just check the feed and all that for his guest spot. So, thanks for stopping by.
No.
All right, sir. Where are you from, and what's your name?
Oh, my name's Salvatore Raber. I'm from Fowler, Indiana. I'm here because my son really wanted to do this, and well, he's 15. You just can't let him go to Indianapolis by themselves.
Hey, you're a good dad for bringing your son. So we've been asking people, what franchise or movie or TV show would you remake or revamp or relaunch if you could?
If I could bring anything back, I think a show ended too soon. I'm a big animation kind of guy. I don't watch a whole lot of your nighttime dramas or anything. There's a show called Young Justice, done by Warner Brothers. As a kid, I used to be a big Justice League fan. Big Justice League Unlimited fan. It's something I like a lot. I love that whole genre. And they did that spin-off where they did the young sidekicks. They really, really did it well, and it only went about 3 seasons, and it could have gone about 4 more.
Okay, great. That's a really cool answer. We haven't heard anything like that so far. Thanks for coming to the convention. Hope you have a good time.
Thank you very much.
You need to watch this. It's amazing.
All right, so why don't you tell us your names and where you're from?
All right, well, my name's Alex. I'm from Indiana.
My name's Parker. I'm also local.
Sweet. All right, right on. Well, thanks for stopping by, and how you guys liking the convention?
It's really cool.
A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Nice. Awesome. So we're asking everyone what movie, show, or franchise they would want to reboot, revive, remake, whatever, and why. So what do you got for it?
I said Fast Forward because it was probably one of my favorite shows that I've watched.
Nice. How would you like to make it different if you were to bring it back?
Well, the story had certain characters. I want to see it from different characters' perspectives and see how they would do it and see how they changed their lives to make sure it didn't happen.
Sweet, right on. Yeah, I liked that show a lot, and the concept alone is so great. It's a really great concept for a show, and I wish that it had better chance and could have been developed more. So, yeah. How about you?
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm not... It is. Well, there was a very short-lived TV series a while ago called Terra Nova. That one, it was really cool. The entire premise of it was humanity's exhausted all their resources. Earth is nothing but a barren wasteland. People can buy like oxygen and stuff in order to stay alive and not be so affected by the polluted air. And they managed to invent a time machine. And they're sending people back to the Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago, to start a colony and to start a new life there. And the whole premise of it was, you control the past, you control the future, try to stop all this bad stuff from happening. And it was really interesting. It had a really lot of cool points. Dinosaurs were also present, and that was pretty cool. But I just wish it would have went on longer because it got canceled pretty quickly, and it was a bit upsetting.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. I didn't watch it, so maybe I'm part of the problem, but I love time travel as just a science fiction concept, and I like seeing networks and everything take a chance on something like that. So just the fact that both of those shows got made is astonishing to me. And you're right, I wish that they would have find a better audience, and so hopefully we get more of that in the future, though. So, all right, well, thanks for recording with us, and thanks.
Okay, so what's your name and where are you from?
Miranda Boggs, and I'm from Jennings County.
Okay, cool. So we've been asking everybody all weekend if you could revamp or remake or relaunch any franchise, movie, TV show, what would it be?
I would redo Doctor Who with Matt Smith and have John Berman come back to it as Captain Jack and see how he would react to River Song and Amy Pond and Rory.
I like that. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, so more John Barrowman would be fantastic. I agree with you. So thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the convention.
Thank you.
Okay, just to start off, just introduce yourself, say your name, where you're from, and plug all your stuff. So, go ahead.
Hey, what's up? My name is Brian Alford, and I have a review channel on YouTube, this gaming review channel called Is It Good? And I've known this guy here for about a year now. We did a podcasting panel at PopCon last year. Love your Obsessive Year podcast. Love what you do.
Thank you.
So, yeah, absolutely. You're welcome.
Right on.
So, take it away. Take it away.
I was just going to say. So the question we've been asking everyone is, what movie, show, or franchise would they want to reboot, revive, remake, whatever, if they could, and why? Which is a loaded question for a variety of reasons, but what would you pick and why?
All right, so I'll make this real simple for you, okay? I wouldn't.
Nice.
I wouldn't, and here's why. Because I am tired of the rehashing, the remaking, the reboots, the remastering. I want originality, man. That's what I want more, and that's what I love. I'm a child of the 80s and a child of the 90s.
Sure.
Grew up with all the original cool stuff, and I miss that, and I want that now. I want more of that. So, yeah. So the answer is no, none. No more, none.
All right, right on. And tell us where we can find your stuff.
Well, I don't really have a very easy link for YouTube, but I do also do journalism for Dragon Blogger. You can go to dragonblogger.com. I'm a journalist there. I do a lot of video game reviews. I'm actually doing a PopCon 2016 article as well. So maybe I can get some time from you, Matt, later today, and we can do an interview. I'll be on the other side of the mic. But I do a lot of journalistic opportunities and things like that. So, yeah, absolutely.
Right on. Well, thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you again, of course. So, yeah. Have a good rest of the convention, man.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Take it easy, man. You too.
Okay, so what's your name and where are you from?
I'm Tristan, and I'm from Indianapolis.
Very cool. So we've been asking people all weekend if you could redo or relaunch, remake any franchise, movie, or show, what would it be?
Well, it'd have to be Ed, Edd and Eddy, just because that's one of my childhood favorite shows.
Awesome. I love the answer. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoy the convention.
Oh, no problem, and you too.
Thank you. Cool.
Okay, so why don't you tell us your name and where you're from?
I'm Nicholas Rorman, and I'm from Indianapolis.
Right on. So we're asking people what movie, show, franchise they would want to remake, reboot, revive, or what have you, and why.
I have two. I would bring back Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. I know they've been working on it, but they're trying to get everyone together so they can make it. So I want to see the sequel that they have written. And then my revival would be the IT Crowd, which is a British sitcom, because they ended it and they had here's the finale, let's wrap everything up, and it was extremely disappointing compared to the rest of the show.
Was it really? I still haven't seen it because I don't want to part with it. I don't want it to have any finality or anything. That's a shame to hear because, man, that show was so great.
Oh, yeah. I would suggest not watching they had an hour special or something, and it was like they set up everything well, but it just fell flat like they were trying to end it, and it was sad.
That's too bad. So yeah, did you have more or anything, or is that it?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. It's it's Necron Creations, and you can check it out. I have some short films I made on there and a bunch of sketches.
Sweet, right on. And how do you spell that, just so everyone knows?
It's Nicron Creations.
Right on, awesome. And links to that will be in the show notes of the episode, of course. Everything. Yeah, okay.
Do you have to say my name or anything?
Yeah, I'll prompt you here. All right, so where are you from and what's your name?
Hi, I'm Marcella, and I'm from Indianapolis, Northwest Side. What's up? And what's up? Oh, did I say what I need to?
I'll just ask you.
Okay.
So all weekend we've been asking everybody if you could revamp, relaunch, remake, whatever, any franchise, movie, or TV show, what would it be and why?
Well, I heard they were already trying to reboot Samurai Jack. I think that would be totally badass. Oh, shit, can I say anything? Yeah, sorry. Well, I heard they were already doing Samurai Jack. That would be really cool. And strangely enough, I want to see what they would do with Totally Spies, because that's like a guilty pleasure show for everybody. So.
Very cool. I like that answer. That's the first time we've heard that. Thank you.
Sorry, I cursed.
All right, if you want to just say your name and where you're from?
My name's Eamon Haggerty. I'm from the magical faraway land of Indianapolis, Indiana.
Right on. So, what's your answer to our question this weekend?
So, if I was going to remake something, I think the anime Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann would make an awesome live-action movie. The show has some awesome action set pieces. There's some great three-dimensional characters, which is something that, especially in the world of anime, isn't. It's kind of few and far between sometimes. And I just think it'd be a great way to bring such a great series to a wider audience. And especially now when you got stuff like Pacific Rim taking off and a lot of big-budget comic book movies, I think this would definitely be a good contender in today's movie market. So for a revival of a series, mine would be a couple. It would have to be the old Cartoon Network DC shows, like they like Teen Titans, Young Justice, Static Shock, to a lesser extent. Because the show, there was some great talent behind those shows, not only great voice talent, but some great writing talent. And it's a shame that Cartoon Network sort of put those aside to try and make big. They're not bad. Like Teen Titans Go, it's not a bad show, but it's definitely not the same because it's definitely geared towards a younger audience, and it doesn't take itself quite as seriously, which is not a bad thing. But I think there's definitely is a place for a more serious comic book adaptation in children's television. And so I think bringing some of those programs back for, especially it's like a new season, since Young Justice ended on such a kind of a cliffhanger, really. So I think bringing it back would be a great addition.
Sweet, that's awesome. And you have a YouTube channel as well, and a short film that was here at PopCon?
Yes, sir. My YouTube channel is called Amodec. It's EAMODEC. I have some films on there. One of my newest short films, Netflix and Kill, was just screened here at Indy PopCon to thunderous applause. I also have two feature-length films called the Red Toast Saga. They're sort of like science fiction action adventure films made by a bunch of high school kids. So, yeah, that's
awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. Thank you very much.
Right on. Yeah, that's awesome. And of course, links to this will be in the show notes of the episode. And Netflix and Kill, that's just such an awesome title, and I'm looking forward to checking that out. So thanks for stopping by, and hope you have a good rest of the convention.
Okay, so tell us your name and where you're from.
My name's Devin, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Wow, cool. So we've been asking everybody all weekend if you could reboot, remake, revamp any TV show, movie, or franchise, what would it be and why? Do you have an answer for that?
I do. I'd say the Star Trek franchise on TV. I know we have the movies and stuff, but I think a lot of Star Trek fans are like, why can't we sit down on a couch and watch a show every week and take in this experience? I just think it would be really cool to finally be able to say, I watched Star Trek just like my father or my grandfather did when they were younger. So I just think that would be really cool.
Awesome, I agree. I think there's a new series coming out soon. I think it's going to be on Netflix, maybe. Yeah, so that'll be good. Thanks for stopping by.
Awesome.
All right, so why don't you tell us your name, where you're from, and your Twitch channel, and all that stuff?
I'm the Board Gamer from Nashville, Tennessee. Coming up here as a guest of the Indy PopCon. Just having a great time with our good fellow here for the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Yeah. But mainly I do co-hosting with Sir Tony Ray on RS Glory and Gold. That's on twitch.tv, as well as we do have a YouTube. So,
right on. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you on the podcast here. What we're asking people is what show, movie, franchise they would reboot, remake, revive if they could, and why they would do it.
Just that you just totally phrase the question like that. They should bring back Reboot, man. Oh, my God. No, I mean, and that's the thing. Back then, it was the best graphics back in the day for CG, for a television series. I could only imagine it right now if they reboot. Oh, my God, it would be beautiful. I would hope so. I mean,
especially in this culture where it's like we're in such a meta culture too. That'd be hilarious. I'm not even familiar with Reboot or anything. Really? I'm really not. So just the fact that it's named rebooting it would be meta in itself. What exactly is it? What's like the elevator pitch for Reboot for those who don't know?
Well, what it was basically they were in a computer world. I mean, it was one of those type things where they're like, oh, God, basically like Tron. You know how Tron was, where they were in the computer system, internet, all that stuff. I mean, that's basically what Reboot back in the day. I mean, now I feel old because it's like, oh, hey, I don't know that show. I mean, but yeah, it was a good show. I mean, like I said, back then it was, I think, one of the first CG like kids shows that they had on. And, I mean, it was a really, really well-structured show, and they had, like, about 4 or 5 seasons. So, I mean, at least it was doing well. But
awesome. Well, that's a good answer. That's the first we've gotten to that, so that's awesome. Once again, tell us where you can find your work and everything, and, yeah.
Like I said, I mainly do co-hosting with Sir Tony Ray on twitch.tv, / RS Glory and Gold. We're the #1 in RuneScape right now. As of this weekend, and of course we're having a great time meeting a lot of friends and meeting some really good characters like the Obsessive Viewer podcast. Right on, Matt.
Right on, man. Thank you for stopping by, and congratulations on all your success as well. And hope you have a fun rest of the convention.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I'm here with the guys from Gaming in Progress, and why don't you tell me your name and where you're from and what you guys are all about?
My name is Devin. I'm the leader, basically, of Gaming in Progress. I'm the person who founded it a couple years ago. We're based out of Michigan. We're a YouTube channel. We do Let's Plays, gaming commentary, gaming news, tech reviews, airsoft, gaming skits, all kinds of stuff, really. Even been dabbling with video game music videos lately as well. So that's basically what we do. We do that on basically a daily basis, and we're here at the convention, our second year in a row, actually. This is the first time we have our booth, though, so we're really excited about that.
Very cool, yeah. We're glad you guys came out all the way from Michigan, too. That's really cool you come down. So all weekend we've been asking people what movie franchise or TV show or something like that they would want to reboot or relaunch, whatever. Did you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I do, actually. I think that there's been a lot of TV shows that have been canceled before they really get off the ground and moving. And the latest one that I've seen so far that's going to be my answer, obviously, would have to be Ascension, that was on Sci-Fi. Ran for 6 episodes. Ended up being a 6-part miniseries, but it should have got the full series treatment in the same way that Battlestar Galactica did, because Ascension was really good. And it was one of those shows where you watch it, and then just when you think you know what's going on, they reveal that, they're not actually somewhere, but they're somewhere else doing something else, you know. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I'd definitely say Ascension.
Very cool, yeah. I watched Battlestar Galactica, and, Sci-Fi has some cool shows to put out. I didn't watch any Ascension, but, hey, I think that's a cool answer. We haven't heard that one yet, so... can you tell us where we can find your channel? Like, what's it listed under on YouTube?
Our channel is listed under Gaming in Progress on YouTube. There will only be 2 of those results. We're always the top one. The other one's an inactive one. Or you can just type into the search bar or into your address bar, youtube.com/Gaming in Progress. It'll take you right to us. You can also find us on Facebook, on facebook.com/Caution Gaming in Progress. We have a Twitter as well, which is Gaming in Progress. And we also have our own website, which is gaminginprogress.net.
All right, really cool. That's very cool. We'll tell everybody to check that out, and thanks for talking to us.
Awesome. Thank you for talking to me as well. Have a good one.
Do I need to say my name or anything?
Okay. All right, so why don't you tell us your name and where you're from?
I'm Dimitri Passion. I'm from the Raymore, Missouri area. I'd probably bring back Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, a really old TV show on Cartoon Network. It's something that really made my childhood, and I'd love to see it again.
Sweet, that's an awesome answer. Nice. And you're here for you came here for your 16th birthday, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I came down here because I thought it'd be fun to go to.
Sweet, right on. Well, happy birthday, man, and hope you have a good rest of the convention.
I plan to.
Okay, so now I'm here with Alex, or his handle Aries, with Gaming in Progress, and he also has an answer for our question about what he would like to see rebooted. So, what did you want to see rebooted?
This is kind of weird because I gotta say, it's always been my answer up until this point, only because up to this point it hasn't been rebooted, and it's just been announced by Adult Swim that it will be rebooted, and that's Samurai Jack. So I know that's going to be rebooted, but it's always been my answer, and it's probably maybe the happiest, probably one of the happiest messages I've ever received about any pop culture thing, is that they're finally going to reboot that.
Very cool. I think you're the second or third person we've heard say Samurai Jack. So I've never watched any of it, but yeah, I may have to now that they're bringing it back.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a good series to watch. I know it's not anime, but it's definitely the best kind of samurai type cartoon that's not made in Japan.
All right, really cool. Well, thanks for talking to us, and hope you have a good con.
Yep, you too.
Cool.
All right, so go ahead and tell us your names, where you're from, and your channel and everything.
Okay. My name is Tom, a.k.a. Linear Effect. Our YouTube channel is Linear Radio. Biafra, you introduce yourself?
My name is Biafra, a.k.a. Tyrannicide, also on Linear Radio. Wasn't prepared. Still in the question.
Right on. Well, the question we're asking everyone is, what movie, show, or franchise would you remake, reboot, revive if you could, and what would it be and why?
Okay. So I got a real obscure one, or not obscure, but it's one that probably no one is going to see coming. Extreme Ghostbusters.
Extreme Ghostbusters?
Have you ever heard of that?
I have not. Do tell.
Okay. It is, there was an original cartoon of the Ghostbusters after the movie was such a success. Then they came out with a show. I don't know if it came out in the 90s or when it actually watched it. I watched it when I was in elementary school to middle school.
Okay.
I didn't really see when it appeared, but it followed after the Ghostbusters kind of disbanded with their separate ways, and Egon is kind of the guy left doing anything. Okay. And he really wasn't doing anything for a long time. And then these 4 college kids get wrapped up in it, and it's nice too because it's not the trope of them being high school kids. They're college kids. They're literally going to college classes, and they're the only 4 students to show up for Egon's class.
Okay.
And it's really funny too because it is a real big cliche textbook thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you open a textbook when you're in high school or anything, here's the cast was a guy in a wheelchair, a Latina. Oh, no, wait. No, a goth girl, a a Latino, and a black guy.
Okay.
And that was the cast, and I was like, that is the most like ethnically diverse cast. But anyway, it was billed like this, like, oh, it's all dark, it's grungy, it's scary, like it's more about scary. And I'm like, it was good. And I watched it recently. I'm like, oh, it's pretty good for a '90s kids cartoon show. And I think if they remade that as a movie, that could. It would be cool, especially if I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters.
Right.
I don't know how good it's going to do. I don't know. I guess it's a reboot and not a sequel.
Right. It seems like more of a remake, I think, than anything else. Not like it's not. You know, I'm not sure exactly, but
they could do Extreme Ghostbusters as an actual sequel, and they could get away with it. I think it would be.
Would you? Would it be a live action? Was the original a cartoon?
The original one was a cartoon, but it was supposed to be a sequel.
Right.
So you could make a sequel, live action movie out of it too, and I think it would work really well.
So you would want to see live action?
Yeah.
Right on. Cool. How about you?
Let's see. I'm kind of tired, so you're gonna have to bear with me. But I think a show that I would like is have you seen Freaks and Geeks?
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed that growing up as a kid. Well, I guess it hasn't been that long, but yeah, it just was about nerd cultures and nerds growing up in the world, and I guess that revamping again would, I guess, follow the trend of how, like, what's that really annoying show that they have, The Big Bang Theory?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I hate that show. I wish that would just go off and just revamp Freaks and Geeks and just put that in its place. Yeah. That would better understand to show the world how nerd culture really is and how nerds handle people making fun of them and how they deal with it. And how, like, because it didn't just have nerds, it also had, like, jocks and normal people or normal kids and, like, how they dealt with, like, their daily lives and how they dealt with situations. So, like, I guess that's, like, the main point I was trying to get out of it with my tiredness. But I think that's all really I have.
Right on. Yeah, it's the last day of the convention, so everyone's pretty tired and everything. Follow-up question for that is, would you want it to be still set in, like, the 80s, or would you want it to tackle the nerd culture and everything of the 90s or early 2000s, since we're now in 2016 and everything?
I think they should probably do it like the current time, because if they went back to that time period, it would be super outdated and no one would really understand, like, the jokes and the humor. So
okay, cool. Right on. And tell us again where you can find Linear Radio and all your stuff.
You can find us on YouTube at The Linear Radio. Well, it's youtube.com/linear radio. Oh, God damn it, I f***ed it up again. Anyway, just look it up on YouTube. You'll find it. There's not many things called Linear Radio. We're also on Twitter actually, it's probably just Linear Radio. We're on Facebook on Linear Radio. We have a Tumblr, but don't look at it. We haven't updated it in like a year. I've been using my own Twitter, like Tumblr, to ever tumble anything about our channel.
Nice. All right, well, right on, and thanks for stopping by, and have a good rest of the convention.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, so those were all of our booth answers, booth recordings at this year's PopCon. Tiny, what do you think of the people that recorded with us?
Oh, they were great. Like you said, everyone that's what's great about the question is it taps into what people are passionate about and gets their imagination running. I loved a lot of the answers. Like our friend Tony mentioned, Tron, Halloween got mentioned, Samurai Jack. Our friends Billy and Brandon brought up, the Turtles.
Nice.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So just a lot of great answers.
So did Fecus.
And,
also I liked that we got a Cheers.
Yeah.
And at least one Quantum Leap. I think I heard you give one. I haven't actually listened to the recordings yet. Inside Baseball. Anyway, yeah. So we had a lot of really great answers, and now the pressure is on for us to give you guys our answers as well. Which you would think is something that I considered all weekend, but haven't really given it too much thought. But
well, I can go first then.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So Tiny, what movie, TV show, or franchise would you want to remake, reboot, revive, or whatever?
Well, I mean, the obvious answer, I have two. The obvious answer is Firefly.
Okay.
Because Firefly. I mean, it's like,
Right.
that did not have enough, just did not have enough time. And, you know, some other people mentioned that as well. A lot of people thought of Firefly right off the bat. And some people were like, well, would you include the canon from the movie? Or would you leave that out? Or, you know, what would
That's
this be?
true.
What would that be? Because the movie was kind of conclusive, you know?
It was,
So-
and there were some very, very big moments in the movie that would have ripples.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
Would you?
I would, because like, you can't ignore it. I mean, big deal. So yeah, you can't ignore it. At least in my book, I don't think you can ignore it. So, yeah, I'd leave the movie in, but I think there's still so much more to tell with those characters. So yeah, I would definitely love to see that continue. But then the less obvious answer, for me, maybe not that unobvious, but I would like to see Battlestar Galactica continue.
Interesting.
And you know, they have done a lot with that, or they've done more with that franchise. They had Caprica, which is like the prequel. I haven't watched any of that, but I've heard it's good. But I know that I'm not alone when I say that I really wasn't that satisfied with the ending of Battlestar Galactica. I am talking about the remake, ironically. I've never seen the original series. I hear it's pretty cheesy. But a lot of people weren't that satisfied with it. I know a lot of diehard Lost fans, like me and you, who loved the last season of Lost. They'll bring up the last season or the ending of Battlestar Galactica because they answered everything.
Did they?
Every
I'm still
question,
working my way through it.
Yeah, every question is answered. Everything is concluded in Battlestar Galactica, and it just really was not that satisfying.
Interesting.
And so I'm not going to spoil the ending of Battlestar Galactica, but I think it'd be cool to. I don't even think they need to come in like right at the timeline when that ended. I think 20 years later or something like that would be a cool place to start and to continue that story.
Interesting.
Even with like all new characters and stuff. I mean, I think it'd be really fun. There's so much depth to that story and that conflict. I think there's a lot more they could tap into in that franchise.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm still working my way through season 2 of Battlestar Galactica. I kind of dropped off again. This is the second time that this has happened. I need to sit down and just watch the damn thing.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Okay, I'm gonna make it kind of easy, here, because, this answer was probably one of my favorite answers we got all weekend was, the show, Flash Forward.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when it came out, we talked about it in our TV, one season wonders, but I would love to see it like one of the PopCon attendees said at our booth. I would like to see it revisited. Wow. And I would like to see it basically created with a sense of what they want to do with the scope of it. And I would like to not see it on network TV. I'd like to see it on basic cable. And because I think the concept that everyone on the planet blacks out for X amount of time, and everyone, while they're blacked out, has a vision of the future. So everyone has this vision of the future, and then they wake up and they have to deal with the consequences of those visions. And like the ones who don't have visions, they have to deal with the consequences of, are they going to die within the next whatever time frame? And in order to adapt to television back in, I think it was 2009, 2010. In order to do that, they had to shorten the time frame. So, in the book by Robert J. Sawyer, everyone had a vision 20 years in the future. Mm-hmm. Which I really need to read that book. But in the show, they had it I think it was 16 months, 18 months, something like that in the future. I think it would be really clever if they rebooted it, redid it, completely remade it, basically, to where there's an original thing, the original series didn't happen, and just really, really play with the consequences of what happens in a very science fiction way that isn't pandering to a network audience, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that they could really have a lot of fun with the fun with the existentialism that comes with this and the mystery surrounding it. I think that it's time that we have something like that. Because when it came out, it was kind of playing into the Lost crowd and how it was kind of aping Lost somewhat in style, and I don't think audiences were receptive to that, mostly because Lost was on its way to being a somewhat divisive finale,
right?
And people were kind of more tired from their perspective being strung along by the mysteries of Lost, and they weren't really prepared for that. But I think that with some time with some time between when in this time, if they relaunched it and actually like set out and remade it, they could actually, do it well. And I just thought of another one that was so much better. God. Anyway, I'll just throw this out, Under the Dome. Because, the source material is so incredible. It's right there that the entire town is classic Stephen King. It's all about power plays and about human interactions in this supernatural scenario. I would love to see that remade with a proper vision. And again, not on network TV, something on basic cable or on the premium channels or on Netflix. I think that could be a vastly entertaining and enthralling series.
I agree. Both of those shows were hamstrung by network crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the junk that goes with being a network show.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yep. Okay. So those are our picks. And once again, thank you to everyone at Indy PopCon, all the volunteers at Indy PopCon, everyone who stopped by the booth and spoke to us, everyone that took one of our cards, and, everyone that made it such a great weekend, and we can't wait to see you guys again next year.
Agreed. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks, guys. And also, first of all, for this next part, welcome new listeners to the podcast.
Hello.
Any new ones that we picked up from PopCon, I apologize for being so low energy tonight because I am just dragging, but I promise it's not normal. Teddy, you talk.
Yeah, PopCon got all our energy. That's where it happened.
Did.
Pizza's walking towards the laptop right now.
That's always terrifying.
Oh no, is she gonna pause it? Is she gonna pause it?
Oh my god.
With her paw.
I hope
she's walking on the laptop. Oh.
Pizza.
Where's it gonna go? Let's see what happens. Oh, she's about to. Why is this entertaining?
Because I'm so tired.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably gonna cut that out. Okay. So anyway, okay. So this.
Thank you for listening to The Obsessive Viewer, presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. You can find more of our episodes at ovpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast app. The Obsessive Viewer's theme song is An Eclipse of Events and is provided by Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. You can find that and more great music from them on iTunes and like their Facebook page at facebook.com/loudlikemusic. Any and all feedback on the podcast is encouraged. You can email the hosts individually at Matt, Tiny, or Mike at ObsessiveViewer.com, or send an email to the podcast in general at podcast@ObsessiveViewer.com. Check out the Obsessive Viewer blog at ObsessiveViewer.com, where we post movie and TV reviews and the occasional editorial about the business of entertainment. You can also like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer and follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer, at ObsessiveTiny, and at IamMikeWhite. If you want more obsessive content in your life, check out our sister site, ObsessiveBookNerd.com, for book reviews, author spotlights, and a general celebration of reading. Finally, if you're philosophically curious, check out Tiny's side project podcast, The Secular Perspective, which explores the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts. You can find that at thesecularperspective.com and subscribe to the podcast on the podcatcher of your choice. Again, thank you so much for listening. We love you. Be excellent to each other.